Good day. I will discuss what I have learned on our past discussion and lesson on CDI, Leia, and cream. Sketching. A crime scene sketch is a permanent record of the size and distance relationship of the crime scene and the physical evidence within it. The sketch serves to clarify the special information present within the photograph and video documentation, because the other methods do not allow the viewer to easily gauge distances and dimensions. A sketch is the most simplistic manner in which to present crime scene layout and measurements. Crime scene sketch are one of the foundations of crime scene investigation, and also crime scene sketch are still considered a valuable tool of scene documentation and case investigation use. There are two types of sketches are produced with regards to crime scene documentation: the rough sketch and the final sketch. Rough sketch are developed while on scene, typically during the crime scene assessment or preliminary scene evaluation phase to assist with development of a strategic plan for processing. The sketch is not done to scale, can be drawn with any implement like crayon, chalk, pencil, pen, and many more, and it's very rough artistically. As a work progress at the crime scene, the sketch will include not only the crude crime scene layout, but also will be used to record measurements of items and structures, and distance between items. Rough sketch is drawn at the crime scene. It is not a finished product, but it does contain measurements and other data. A final sketch is a finished rendition of a rough sketch. They are usually prepared for courtroom presentation and often will not show all measurements and distance originally recorded on the rough sketch. Only significant items and structures are usually present within a final sketch. A final sketch is produced in either ink or on a computer, in a manner that is not able to be modified. A finished sketch shows proper relationship and scales. The finished sketch is more presentable for court presentations. Cesar Lombroso, 1836 to 1901. He was the prime proponent of positivist theory who was criticized for his methodology and his attention to the biological characteristic of offenders, but his emphasis on the need to study offenders scientifically earned him the title Father of Modern Criminology. His most controversial work was the concept of atavistic stigma, wherein he contained the criminals could be identified through features alone. He also introduced the concept of born criminals. Classification of criminal by Lombroso. First is the born criminals. This is based on the belief that criminal behavior is inherited. Thus, a person whose parents are criminals has a great propensity to be a criminal because he already has a criminal behavior that he inherited from his parents. So, sabi nga dito na ang pagiging criminal daw ay namamana sa mga magulang. Example nito is, kunwari, ang tatay Nicolas ay murderer at ang nanay niya naman ay magnanakaw. There was a great propensity na maging magnanakaw o murderer si Nicolas o pwede din naman niyang makuha parehas. Next is the criminal by passion. This pertains to individuals who commit crime as they are influenced by great emotion such as fit of anger. So, sabi dito, nakakapag-commit ng crime ang isang tao dahil sa emosyon, great emotion na nararamdaman nila. Like, for an example, na nahuli ni Mang Kanor na nakikipagtalik ang kanyang asawa sa kanyang kumpare. So, sobrang galit niya, napatay niya ang kanyang kumpare. So, si Mang Kanor ay criminal by passion. Third is the insane criminals. Those who commit crime due to abnormalities or physical disorder. Ito naman is yung mga nakakapag-commit ng crime due to abnormalities na meron sila or mga physical disorder. Next is the criminaloids. Those who commit crime due to less physical stamina or low self-control. Example for this is, si Nicolas ay nag-commit ng crime of theft because he is suffering from kleptomania. Alam naman natin na ang kleptomania is an uncontrollable impulse to steal. So, si Colas ay isang criminaloids. Next is the occasional criminals. Those who commit crime due to reasons that push them at a given occasion. Dito naman is nakakapag-commit ng crime ang isang tao dahil nagkakaroon sila ng opportunity sa isang bagay o lugar para mangyari o makapag-commit ng crime. Next is the pseudo-criminals. Those who kill in self-defense. Ito naman is yung mga criminals who committed crimes in self-defense or sometimes are insane persons.
Enrico Ferri, 1856 to 1929. He became the closest associate of Lombroso. Although he agreed with Lombroso on the biological basis of criminal behavior, his interest in socialism led him to recognize the importance of social, economic, and political determinants. His greatest contribution was his attack on the classical doctrine of free will. He believed that criminals could not be held morally responsible for their crimes because they did not choose to commit crimes but rather were driven to commit crime by condition in their lives. So, sabi dito, naniniwala siya na ang mga kriminal ay hindi maaaring managot sa moral para sa kanilang mga krimen dahil hindi nila piniling gumawa ng mga krimen ngunit sa halip ay hinimok na gumawa ng krimen ayon sa kondisyon ng kanilang mga buhay. Rafael Garofalo, 1852 to 1934. Like Lombroso and Ferri, he rejected the doctrine of free will and supported the position that the only way to understand crime was to study by its scientific methods. Influenced by Lombroso's theory of atavistic stigma, he traced the roots of criminal behavior not to physical features but to their psychological equivalents, which he called moral anomalies. He also coined the term criminology in its Italian equivalent, criminologia. There are 4 types of criminals by Garofalo: the murderer, violent criminals, deficient criminals, and lascivious criminals. First is the murderer. Those who commit crime because of revenge. Next is the violent criminals, those who commit very serious crimes. And then the vicious criminals, those who commit crimes against property. They lack the basic necessity for survival. And last is the lascivious criminals, those who commit crimes against chastity. They commit crimes because they are driven by sexual desires and they have no legitimate means of releasing such desire, or they suffer from certain sexual perversion. They might also lack the moral standards due to various influences such as their exposure to improper sexual conducts. Lombroso, Ferri, and Garofalo are regarded as the Holy Three or Tree of Criminology because some of their doctrines are in accordance with the Bible. They are also called Unholy Tree or Tree of Criminology because some of their doctrines are not in accordance with the Bible. They are also regarded as the Family Tree or Tree of Criminology.
First is the adversarial system. In adversarial, the accused is innocent until proven guilty, and inquisitorial, where the accused is guilty until proven innocent or mitigated. For what I have learned, adversarial system, the prosecution proves the defendant guilty on the front of neutral judge and jury. Witnesses are called to testify and judge can ask questions, not to investigate. Next is the inquisitorial system, where lesser rights are granted to the accused, and the written law is taken as gospel and subject to little interpretation. And based on what I understand, in the inquisitorial system, the judge plays an active part in the trial. They conduct public investigation and control police investigations. And also in the adversarial system, a better lawyer means a lesser chance of a conviction. As in the other system, lawyer plays a little role, meaning the quality versus the focus on truth. In summary of these 2 types of court system, the adversarial system is better for the defendant, whereas the inquisitorial is better for society.